What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and how you feeling? Are you feeling in tune? You feeling mighty in the cosmic waters? The moon is in Cancer. She's at home. She's feeling in her. It had her strongest in her home sign here, and this is a really great one too. Just as a little sidebar, if you have your sun in Cancer, this could be just a really great time when the moon's coming in, or wherever you happen to have your sun and the moon comes into a conjunction with your natal sun. This is a great time to just be feeling in your energy. I've really come to appreciate when the moon's in Cancer, and just think when she's crossing over, getting close to my sun placement, that just feeling of just oneness, and just kind of feeling that coming from that source sense. But we're gonna get into all this in a little bit. Cancer's bringing us some feelings. But before we jump into that, if you're new here, my name is Justin, and know that when you're coming across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she loves that. But this is also a place for if you happen to have Cancer in your placement, sun, moon, rising, wherever. This one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads face of our the lovely luminary, the good old moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, which is going to boycott us all them lunar shenanigans. And just so y'all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, I'm just realizing I didn't bring up my water bottle. Let's jump into it. Because, yeah. Because yes, going to be a very intuitive reading. I really do enjoy when the moon's in Cancer. And happy lunar return to those of you if you have your moon in Cancer. Great day for checking in to see what the themes for the month are, what ways you can nurture yourself and things. So definitely check that out. Check on astro.com or any other type of app. Definitely can help you out with that for sure. But depending on when you're watching this, I'm going to shuffle your cards here. Happy Sunday. The sun is associated with Sundays, oddly enough. And when we're talking about Sundays, this is just, I find Sunday, I personally enjoy a Sunday. This is, if you can, just get out and just be in the sun. Thanks, Spirit. But I find Sundays are really great, just kind of energy days. They're ones for even less like sun hours, great ways for letting that inner you shine bright, to you really tap into that solar sense of self. The sun, the sun is very important in our chart, of course, but it's not just in just like this who I am. It's just like, is there something even just very spiritual when we get into that kind of solar energy that I'm trying to in kind of encapsulate here in this description? But I find Sundays can really be, I think, really just a great time to just to follow that inner light, follow into that higher voice, that higher mind, that inner knowing. And I know that's not quite quite the way that Sundays are usually kind of work with, but that's what I've been really kind of feeling with this. So, and one thing that I like to do when working with these energies as well is to think about your sun placement. Where is the sun placed? How is it placed? What aspects is it formed with? My sun's could be in better shape. It's located in the 12th house, which is, it's beautiful and somewhere. And I normally just work with the traditional planets, but my sun is very busy. My sun is opposed Neptune and Uranus. Neptune's opposed to almost the minute of my sun. Uranus is opposed within about 3 degrees. It's trine Pluto. It's conjunct the south node, opposed the north node, and my sun is doing a whole lot. And so, what's your relationship with your sun? Is it doing a lot? What is it trying to teach you? What insights is it trying to bring about? Do you have a day chart versus a night chart? That's another thing too. And that's simply where if the sun is above, the ascendant line and hasn't gone below the descendant line, then you have a day chart. If it's below, then you have a night chart. And then that just determines what planets we're looking at. Because in a day chart, you're going to have Jupiter's going to be your greatest benefic, and Mars is going to be your worst planet to work, or maybe the hardest planet to kind of work with. Whereas in the night chart, Venus is going to be your number one benefic, and Saturn's going to be the harder one to work with. So Just these little insights can bring wonders to your journey. But let's get into the lunar shenanigans, because on the 15th of December, depending on when you're watching this, the moon is going to be entering into the lovely getting back into her shell, Cancer, at about 11:21 a.m., and that's going to be Pacific time. And she's in a waning gibbous phase. Now, when we're getting into the waning half of the lunar cycles, this is the time of reflection, a time of sharing, especially when we're in that waning gibbous energy. We just parted from what was going on in that full moon, which we had a very active full moon. There was a lot of energies that were going on, a lot of active fire and air energies that were going on in the mix. And so now this is the time to kind of disseminate that and to kind of integrate what was processed here. I find especially going from Cancer into Gemini, or excuse me, from Gemini into Cancer, because in Gemini we're thinking a lot, and we're thinking a lot. It's a lot of information that's coming in from us at once, not just from what we read and what we communicate, but what we see, what we hear, what we smell. Gemini is processing all of that, and then Cancer has to feel all of that and process all of those things that are being taken in. There's these kind of raw emotions that are coming up. And I think that Cancer, being ruled by the moon, is understanding the waxing and wanings of life, and understanding, because I've been listening to, and this is something that I've just kind of noticed, where I hear people talk about, it's like we seem to be feeling about everything, and where that's cool. I'm glad we're more in touch with the feelings, but I think there is a needing to differentiate between what you think and what you feel, and what those two things actually mean when I'm caught up in my head and when I'm just in my feelings. And not to say that they both are very intimately intertwined, but there is this distinct difference coming from that air energy into that water energy. What are you actually, it's one thing to be thinking a lot of these things, but what do all of these thoughts make me feel? What emotions are they are evoking to me, and what actions am I feeling compelled to do? Because Cancer is an interesting sign, being the cardinal water sign. There's a feminine nature being that water sign, so there's a receptive nature. Cancer's receiving all of these things around this, and I'm just talking about Cancer as an energy, and is receiving all of this input and this fluctuation, and understanding stuff, being the only sign that is ruled by the moon. And so it's just like, how do I initiate with all of these feelings that are come up? There's some days where I'm feeling a lot and I want to do all of the things, and then there's some days I don't want to do anything. I almost forgot what I was talking. You just don't want to do it. Just can't be bothered. And so I find when the moon is in Cancer, it is reflecting on, it's learning to honor that process, but learning how to ride that wave more efficiently when the moon is in her domicile. And I find when we're able to work with the feelings and find that barrier to, or that distinction between the thinking and the feeling, then we're able to, actually my partner was actually talking with me about this exercise of when you're going to contemplate something, taking, what is it, 60 seconds for the head, and placing your hand on your head, 90 seconds for your heart, and then 30 seconds on your core, or for your gut, what your desire, your impulse is. And I think that would be a really great, useful exercise for this kind of working with this Cancer energy as well. When you feel at a crossroads, or not sure which way to go, and feeling called to do this, but then maybe feeling guilty because of doing that, and then it's so just something to help bring things in order here, because Cancer, you would think that Cancer would have this just more kind of passive I mean, like, in that they don't do anything as far as like being just that water sign, the sensitive. But it's just there's more to that than Cancer. I think a great word for Cancer is cathexis, taking that emotional energy and putting it into action. So it's like, how can we utilize those raw emotions constructively when the moon is in Cancer? And I think about in whatever intention that you were setting about, and when you're setting any intentions, and however this, because and it's in different and pay attention too. You know, the really cool thing I find about tracking these cycles, it just really gives you just some very valuable information as far as like when the last time it was in Cancer. Because that's why I would be, when I was talking about the sun, or when the moon formed a conjunction with the sun. You know, that's just something I've been learning and just been feeling from following the moon. You know, the moon transits can happen so fast, but it's like, what transit do I have today? What do I want to be aware of for? And just, it can, again, just really can be some great stuff there. So, and to understand cycles when we're talking with Cancer and working with the moon and things like that. So, and if that's something that you're wanting to do, work a little bit more intimately with your moon placements or any of your placements. Down in the description box below is a link for all of the services that I provide, so definitely avail yourself of that if that resonates with you. But let's go ahead and switch over here. And just the last couple things before we get into this reading. These readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And then I'm going to ring this bell to bring in some good vibes there to get you feeling nice. So take a moment, adjust your volume if you need to, but let's get into this thing. All right. Let's get into your general energy of the day. Oh, this is a day. So these women are feeling a lot. So you have the Tempest of Trials here. She looks like she's ready. So this is a card of storms may challenge you, but they also refresh and renew the landscape of your soul. I like that. I'm even just, here's a feeling for you. You know, there are some times where you may just be, when you're just, have you ever stood out in just the rain and just like had a moment where you didn't care about if you're just going to get wet or not? You just kind of walked outside and just let the rain just beat on you a little bit. Just to feel that, like, the cold drops just hitting the body. Just, there's something about that that is just so rejuvenating. I'm just thinking about that. And most, you know, there's sometimes where, you know, living in here in Washington, there are times where, you know, we're actually getting into it right now. We're starting to get into more kind of overcast, and we're getting into like the rainy seasons, not quite as much sun as there could be. But it's all of this moisture and things that keep this state so green and keep things so lush. I love it when no matter where I'm at. Afterwards, it brings about this sense of, there's just a freshness that washes over. I'm even thinking about, because I was thinking about maybe the only time that it's like a little iffy was when I was living in Florida, because as soon as it rains, it's just a sauna. But even then, before the sun came and baked, turned the heat back up, there would even be moments there, because even the rain would feel kind of warm, and the contrast would even be just kind of so all of that to say, now that we've got that feeling out the way, I think that this, when we're feeling bombarded by challenges of life, the storms that this journey may bring, it's not to deny that, yeah, this kind of stinks. You know, she's getting wet. You know, she may like the shirt, this pants, a cute outfit, but there's some times where we just need to kind of be with something for a little bit, to kind of stand this trial, to understand what it is this thing is trying to teach us, whatever challenge that we're going through at the time, and know that you're going to go through it as gracefully and as strong as you're meant to go through that. There's no requirement as far as like how this needs to necessarily look, because there's some days that I can even myself I can handle things with a lot more compassion, grace, and whatnot. But there is that awareness that there is that capacity for that too, for rising above. Let's get some tarot with this and get some details with this Tempest of Trials. Because I'm even looking like how it seems like even there's this lightning bolt that's lighting up her, like even giving her like this crown or this halo behind her head here. Like it almost like it's giving me like the visual of the hanged man in a sense, where there's that crown of enlightenment around their head as well, that they've gone through that suffering, they've put through those sacrifices to get to where they're at, to get this new sense of wisdom. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Oh, look at that. What's good, girl? I haven't seen you in a little bit. So here's one of our cards, Cancer. You have the lovely Queen of Cups. And, the Queen of Cups, and you have her in reverse here. And so there is, I feel like, and this is for your past energies here. So maybe there was something in the past that really was kind of there, or maybe that has been really kind of testing that emotional patience, that sort of that, or that even that emotional capacity, that pushing your limits in a sense. And I'm wondering if with this Queen of Cups have you made enough time for some self-care, for tending to those emotions, to look at the thing that may have brought you ruin, possibly. Because I'm thinking about the minor cards that are associated with the Queen of Cups. She rules the first two decans of Cancer and the last of Gemini. So that'd be the 10 of Swords, the 2 of Cups, and the 3 of Cups. And so she's working with that Gemini side, that tough 10 of Swords energy. But the Queen of Cups also has that 2 of Cups, that love, that 3 of Cups, the abundance that she shares with everyone as well. But I find that when the Queen of Cups is in reverse, there's a need to take a step and really kind of face this challenge with maybe you need to get more rest. Maybe there's a need to find some more quiet time. The Queen of Cups is the watery part of water. She's just reflects everything of, I remember reading in the Thoth deck where the Queen of Cups, she reflects she is impressionable to the cards, to the influence of the cards that are around her, just with all that water that she does have. And where there's a purity with that, of course, that raw, empathic, compassionate, psychic nature that the Queen of Cups has, there are times where she does pull in things that may not reflect her wholly. They may just be a certain aspect that's being highlighted in the water right now, and it's just causing some sort of disturbance. But it's also, and I even am getting that, and I'll get a little bit more with the clarifier too, but I'm even getting that something may have happened just to kind of stir the waters up, just because maybe things have gotten a little stagnant here. But let's get a clarifier with the Queen of Cups. Because there's nothing the Queen of Cups can't heal with a little bit of love and some care, and to get her into this state of abundance again. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, how very interesting. So you got two very pure court cards here as far as like their energies. You got the King of Wands clarifying the Queen of Cups. And the King of Wands is the fiery part of fire. The King's representing fire, Wands representing fire. So he's bringing a lot of heat. And maybe I'm feeling like in the past, maybe we have pushed ourselves. Because the King of Wands, he's the type that he's just really pure will. you know? And he can overdo things sometimes with the King of Wands, where he does have a lot of ambitions and a lot of will and a lot of drive. When it's pushed to that limit, it'll just burn out and fizzle out here. So this contrast of this pure fire and this pure water that's going on here. This might be something I would even invite you, maybe try, maybe going to a place, doing like maybe like a steam, possibly, even just working with like maybe having yourself, when you're going through some challenges, making some tea or making like a warm beverage, maybe like some cocoa or something along those lines. But maybe even making some like soup or something kind of like feel good, something kind of hearty, something to get the energies flowing. Just if you've been, because this is giving me like we've been going through this sort of maybe frustrated energy with the King of Wands, and now we just need to recuperate with the Queen of Cups here. Just kind of take a beat and just kind of process the challenges that may have gone on here. Let's see what's going on in the present. And when was the last time it's like, maybe... Let me see what's going on here before I get into that. Thanks, Spirit. All right, so you have the Five of Cups up right here. And the Five of Cups presently, this could be where we're really kind of in it. We're really in the heart of like the thick of the storm right now. The Five of Cups is a tough card, even though this is and I think it's a tough card just because what'll come after this storm is going to be equally as tough. And I was actually reflecting on this today before I got into the readings. I was thinking about Mars, because this is Mars in Scorpio, this Five of Cups. Mars, I think, and I'd have to, just thinking offhand, Mars is the only planet in the tarot that is in all three of his strengths and none of his weaknesses. Like there's a Two of Wands, Mars in Aries, the Five of Cups, Mars in Scorpio, and the Two of Discs, which is Mars in Capricorn, where Mars finds its exaltation. But there's no Mars in Cancer, Libra, or Taurus, whereas the other planets and the luminaries, well, even the luminaries they're not in their falls or anything like that, or detriments. Not the moon, but the rest of them are in some sort of trickiness at some point in time, I think. But all of that to say, with the Five of Cups, more so kind of bringing it back to the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is one where we're going through the trial, something has changed, and it's changed us. There's no going back. Like whatever this thing has happened, this thing has transpired, and now it's trying to figure out what to do with these emotions. We maybe can't control the external, but we have control of the internal. And I think this Five of Cups is bringing that invitation to get control of that. Because if you don't have control there, you don't have control anywhere. Forget even trying to, if you have control of the internal, maybe you can feel, at least get the illusion that we have some control over what's going on externally. But if you don't have anything going on internally, but you think you control, it's not going to work. When something falls through, it have to be solid at the core first, at the root, which is the body in us here. And so where this all feels like a lot, feels like maybe there's just too much, the challenges going on. I mean, she just looking defeated. Just looking just like even that moment where you can have everything on your mind and nothing on your mind at the same time. That's just a really polarized place. You have all the things you need to do, but it's just like I just frozen. And that's what this Five of Cups is bringing. And now we're in this place of needing to, yeah, we were at this, we're here. Let's, what are we, how are we going to refresh and renew and rejuvenate? What do we need? Do we need to take a nap? Maybe 2 naps? Do we need to? I mean, she's got some cups here. Her tea has spilled. We're assuming she's drinking tea. Or maybe she's drinking some wine and it spilled. It's like, you know what? Maybe I need to switch to tea. You're right, Spirit. Things are getting a little sloppy. It's fine. I got a couple cups behind me here that are ready to. But let's see what's going on here. Let me get a clarifier with this Five of Cups. Ooh, interesting. Spirit. So you got the Star card in reverse. And so the Star card, this is looking at that, this is Aquarius. And this is looking at where your mind has been as far as, because Aquarius is that fixed air sign. And have we been focused on hope? Have we been doing things to replenish those spiritual waters? This figure here is pouring this from these vessels here, and there's. I really enjoy this Star card. I love all of the little buds that are popping out here in the ground. There's something just so. It's a fertile energy, but it's that like initial kind of primal, almost gives you like a kind of like that Garden of Eden type of feel. And this is like trying to get back to that Eden sense. And I'm talking about within you. Yeah, this is interesting. This is the trying to find that hope again, or maybe there's someone around you even where they're going through a tough time and you're wanting to bring the healing, but maybe it's not something that's being received. So in that instance, you might have to just take a step back. And sometimes you don't need to have an answer for all of the things, or sometimes it's just maybe just a being there can be enough. It maybe there's something to I'm even getting like a thought of even expressing that as well. If you maybe necessarily can't help, but you're just like, hey, I'm not quite sure what to say, but I can listen. Yeah, I can be receptive in that regard and just sort of just at least get an idea of what you're feeling, so that just extend that empathy that the Queen of Cups has. Let's see what's going on in the future here. What are some future actions that maybe need to be taken? In the present, everything is going to be all right. And I know that's easier to say. It's easier to say when you're out of it. Oh, thanks, Spirit. Oh, how lovely. So for your future energy here, you got the Four of Cups in reverse, and that's the Moon in Cancer. So with the Moon in Cancer, the Four of Cups here, I think after a while, when you're in a certain place, there comes a time where the water has to move. Again, this is a very watery reading. Granted, it's clarified by these not water, but your overall kind of baseline energy is just, it's all cups. Last Gemini, everything it was all fire. We were bringing a lot of heat, and I love that King of Wands, but now something is needing to kind of soothe a little bit. We're needing to dip into the emotional space right now, and it seems like the water here with this Four of Cups, something has. And I think that it's something that that's needing to change. Like we've reached this space where you get to a point where you've felt something enough. You've been in that kind of maybe beating yourself up phase, and you're just like, you know what, I'm good. Where, yeah, I don't necessarily feel over this situation, but I'm done. I have to be done right now. And there's got to be something else to move towards, to gather towards. But I think with this Four of Cups here, there's almost like this resistance to kind of sit down. This hand is extending this cup to, all right, do we want to change something this time? Like, you've been doing this thing, but now it's not quite it's not doing what it was before. And so now it's like, do we want to start doing something different? Do we want to start changing these things? That the tide is shifting. Because the associated majors, just thinking about with this, the Four of Cups, the Moon card, or the High Priestess and the Chariot. Yeah, it's just like, where are we going from here? And what does that intuition tell you? But I feel like it only can be heard when we get out of those kind of, when we get towards the eye of the storm, in a sense, as opposed to just getting whipped to and fro, and to just sit in the rain. You're already stuck in the rain and already wet, so might as well just make the most of it. Just might as well just like, well, here we are. So, but let me get a clarifier with this Four of Cups here. Okay. Spirit. So you have the Seven of Swords in reverse. And I think with the Seven of Swords here, I would say while you're going through this challenge, one, there's because this is got Moon in Aquarius, a lot of lunar energy here, but there is a way to get through this current hardship that may be going on. And I think that it is looking for some alternative ways to do that. And I would be mindful too of how you let these challenges affect your everyday. Just, something with there's something that's kind of coming up there as well with the Seven of Swords. But yeah, that's something that's just coming through there with that Seven of Swords. Something to be mindful of. Let's get some advice from the Moon. Interesting. Thanks, Spirit. So, some advice. You got the Hierophant in reverse. And this, to me, you know what? With that Seven of Swords, I think that there's this, I'm just getting like, maybe there's a need to, one, for some call on your own, calling on your own, how do I want to put this? It's like not letting someone trap you in a situation, not literally, but more so like telling you that there's no other way of doing something, kind of like removing that hope. The Hierophant, where thinking about the relationship between like the High Priestess and the Hierophant. The High Priestess is more free. She's more kind of wild intuition, wild magic. and whereas the Hierophant is more structured. Both are channel, of course, they're channeling from source, but they're doing it in very different ways. And this Hierophant in reverse is more leaning towards the High Priestess's way of doing things, or even like the Hermit's way of doing things, calling within as opposed to calling to something else. Because maybe even it's not that you can't call for help, but it's like I feel like this Hierophant is saying you have the things available to you. Take that foundation that you have, maybe from others possibly, or from I'm thinking maybe just some kind of structure, some sort of entity. I'm trying to find what the word is for that, but yeah, just kind of calling on your own devices. But let me get a little clarity. Let me get some clarity with that Hierophant. Spirit. So the Hierophant is clarified by the Six of Wands in reverse. And right now it seems like some advice is that where the storm may be challenging, you may feel like the battle may have felt lost, but the long game isn't over yet. This was just a small defeat, a small thing, just one of those things. But it's something this is going to come back and be of benefit in kind of the grander scheme of things. It's just like this. They may challenge you, but they also refresh and renew the landscape. It's just like in nature, how you'll have and actually let me go ahead and switch back over. But it's like in nature where you have the just natural disasters. They're a necessary part of the whole of this process. There's some things that need to be cleansed, some things that need to be shifted, that need to be changed, that need to be burned, that need to do this in order for the earth, when left alone, she takes care of herself. She's got it. And sometimes you may have to take a hit for something it seems like you're taking one step back, but it's really so that you can take 5 steps forward as opposed to taking 2 and 1 or something along those lines. But and I also think maybe with this Hierophant, I think about when you go, how people will go to church on Sundays, and I think it's also thinking about how do you find the victory in the wins the rest of the week. When you're not in that structure, when you're out on your own and you're out in the wild, how do you find that and keep that connection towards kind of that source energy as well? But that's all I got for you there. A little something to think about. But if you like that, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. And share this if you know somebody who would get some wisdom from this. Subscribe there, you Queen of Cups. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each day. And then, last little bit while I shuffle your cards, if you want to know what's going on with the other planets in the sun, come over to my other channel, Alchemist State, where I do weekly videos on that and talk about different zodiac signs in different houses, different signs in different houses. So, okay. But, thanks, Spirit. Okay, so we got 2 surprise cards for you. Interesting. Okay, so you have, your first card here is the Thief card, which is a card of seizing the moment and selfishness. And then you have the Founder card here, which is a card of foundations and community. And so one thing that I'm getting with this, there's this, I feel like there's an opportunity that's trying to present itself here in the terms of if you've been just kind of feeling down, just taking an opportunity, seizing the moment and getting out and just being amongst community. Sometimes I think being in that foundation where there's just a lot of merriment and just a lot of just kind of uplifting energy, sometimes maybe just going for like a walk in like a, maybe in like a park, or you maybe don't even have to go to like a festival or anything, but going for like a walk in a park, or maybe going by if a beach is available for you, or something where you can get out in the community a little bit, maybe even just like seizing the moment, the community, just be like getting out in nature, if it's not just like people, it's in itself. But there's something there too with this. Maybe there's been a lot of introspection that's been going on, and being subjective with all this water that was coming up with all these cups. And it seems like this thief, this selfishness, is like something is stealing a lot of your time. And maybe that's preventing you from engaging in with your community, with your friends, and it's interfering with like your foundation, and things along those lines. I mean, you got that four for your foundation, but it's water. And even though the star card here, this figure has their foot planted firmly on the water here, I think that the foundation is something is needing to change. Like maybe it's like this establishing this new sense of becoming centered here, because the only earth that you have here, which is a pretty solid earth card here, is the Hierophant, Taurus energy. And something's looking to get grounded maybe after these times. But the landscape may be changing. It's always changing. Just like, just like this life does. But seize that moment to change with it, you know? And maybe even the selfishness is taking some time for yourself to process this growth and the things that you're feeling through as well. So you have an understanding of that landscape, so that when you're going out, you're not just reflecting other people's things. You have a strong sense of who you are and where you are in this realm here. So this is just kind of something to just kind of ponder there. But I think that's all I got for you. So until next time, keep raising that vibration and eyes on that moon. And I will catch you on the next one, Mars Day.